Cool. Welcome everyone. My name is Ali Mustafa, and today we are going to learn APIs 101 with Postman. So I hope you have installed Postman or you at least have an account on Postman because that is very, very required for this session. We are going to do hands-on, so it's better that you have joined using your laptop. If you have not, that is totally fine. But if you won't be able to follow with me, so you have still time till then we start the hands-on. You can switch to a laptop setup. Okay. About myself, I'm Ali Mustafa, and I'm a student community manager here at Postman. I usually love to kind of travel and talk. I have been to 38 cities in India talking about different community programs. I've been part of different organizations before becoming a student community manager here at Postman. I really love, talking to students, and I really love to kind of, uh, like interact with them and enable them to learn more. And that is what we are trying to achieve at Postman as well. We want to make you API literate, and we want to promote API literacy in every campus out there. So even if you're from the different campus and are doing this session today, if you really like the concept, you can definitely reach out to us and bring the sessions to your campus as well. Without dealing much of a time, let's dive in into the agenda today. So today's agenda is very simple. We start with introduction to APIs. Now, before we start, I would like to make it very clear that this session is for beginners. Okay, it is not for advanced users. So if you are an advanced API user, then this session might not be for you. But it is for absolute beginners. You don't know anything about APIs. You don't know anything about programming. Welcome to the session. Okay, this session is perfectly for you. Even if you know some moderate things about APIs, but you haven't tried much, then obviously this session is also for you. So what I want you to do is I want you to give me a thumbs up if you are a beginner, right? A spam with thumbs up with the React emoji. hmm I see a lot of thumbs up there, right? If you are an advanced user, give me a blue heart maybe. Yeah, advanced users, blue heart now. Okay, few advanced users here. Okay, that is good. I see thumbs up being dominated in the reaction. Okay, that is good. Cool. Then we will do hands-on, and I will forward you opportunities where you can earn cool Postman swag, right? So we also have that opportunity right after the session. So stay looking at it right there. Okay, and I'll be kind of looking at your chat. I'll be answering the questions which come in between and answer them right away. But for questions which take a lot of my time, I will take them at the end. Okay. So feel free to kind of pop in your questions, but I don't like audience being sitting idle. So I would want to interact with you. Okay. So I want your response because I don't like to talk to a wall, and that too on a Saturday evening. So I want your response. Okay. I want your participation in this. This is going to be a two-way workshop and not a one-way workshop. Okay. So shower some red hearts for me. Okay. And let's get started. Let me see if the audience is active. Blue hearts. The audience already friends on me. Okay, not a problem. I'm coming for you folks. Cool. Let's get started. So when you talk about APIs, right? What are APIs? A very simple example which I give to people about APIs is like when you go into a restaurant. Okay. So when you go to a restaurant, you actually interact with the waiter. The waiter hands you over a menu, and based on that menu, you kind of order. Okay. Once you order, that goes back to the kitchen, right? And then it gets prepared there, and then the chef hands it over again to the waiter, and then it comes back to you, right? And this is a very simple example of how APIs work in real life scenarios as well. Now it is something which is a very simple terminology. Okay. Now don't worry that there are waiters across the internet who are taking your data from one point to another, but this is just a terminology to understand. Okay. Let's get deeper. Let's try to understand in technical terms what does API really do in real life. Okay. So how many of you use Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, anywhere where there is stories? Now I guess LinkedIn also has stories, right? So I would say, do you use Instagram? Maybe I feel a lot of people in the audience might be, youth, teenagers, right? So I'm just wondering if you folks use Insta or Facebook or any other application in that case, right? Uh-huh. Yes, yes, yes. A lot of you use it, right? So billions and billions of people use smartphones, and they use, they share their photos across the internet. Okay, let's try to understand this. Let's try to decode this, and let's try to understand what happens when you actually want to upload a story, right? So let's say you want to go and you want to kind of take a photo of this amazing session which is happening, and you want to upload that to your Instagram story. What you're going to do is you're going to open Instagram app, and then once you open that app, you're going to access the camera. But it's not that easy. Okay, you obviously open it and it becomes, but then it actually calls an hardware level API, which actually requests access to the camera. Okay, and once the camera is not busy, it is available. It is handing over its access to Instagram, and then Instagram locks in and says that, okay, I'm going to click a lot of photos, I'm going to click a lot of videos, and so on and so forth. And once you click a photo, it is then kind of available on the Instagram interface. Okay, now you are, let's say, a very creative human being. Now I am not, so I don't usually add stuff on my story. I'll just upload that right away. But for people who are very creative, what they would do is they would add GIFs. Okay, they would use a Giphy, they will add GIFs, they will use song, right? They will add a small snippet of a song, and some people would add or tag their friends. Okay, every action you perform here is calling an API. Either it's a public API, either it's a private API, and different forms of API which you are actually using to do all these actions. Not just that, once you have actually added all things onto your Instagram story, you want to upload that, right? You want people to see it. Obviously, if I'm going to a Starbucks, I want people to know that I'm going to Starbucks, right? So as a teenager, it's very fascinating, right? So I would upload that, and then all the people in my followers will be able to see that. Not just that, I can actually, if I'm uploading selfie with the special one and I don't want my relatives to know it, I'll upload that into my close friend list, right? I want them to only be visible with a specific permission, with a specific audience, and so on and so forth. And everything, literally everything which you are saying right now is being used with APIs. So here we discuss about three types of APIs. A public API like Giphy, you can use it in your application as well. A private API, which is of an Instagram API, right? Which Instagram is not made public, which they unable to upload the photo onto their server. And then we have a hardware level API, which is basically allows us to access the hardware elements of your device so that it can record the audio, it can record the video, and it can record so many different stuff, which it can then move forward and put it onto the server. There's an API for literally everything around the world. Okay, so you have been using Google. There's a API for Google. You have been using the cat API. If you have a cat, you have an API for cat. Not the real cat, obviously, but yeah, we have a cat API which will give you different types of cat images, cat reactions, so on and so forth. If you're not a cat lover, you're a dog lover. We have an API for dog as well. So we have reactions for dogs, etc. as well. We have Spotify API, we have Twitter API. We literally have, every big company have their public facing APIs as well as their private facing APIs, which they use privately, in different ways, which you can imagine. We will discuss about Google APIs in a near future, but remember that every service which you're using actually has an API. Okay. So you might be wondering, where does this API actually fit? Okay, where does this the whole thing fits into the system, right? Which part of the software is the API? Okay, which part is what we are designing as an API first approach or something like that, right? And that's where I bring in the concept of Legos. How many of you have played with Legos? Give me some claps in the chat using your emojis, obviously. People played with Legos? No? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm 23 and I still play with Legos, okay? Because they are so fascinating, right? For people who don't know what Legos are, they are nothing but plastic blocks. You can attach them together and you can, kind of make anything. You can make buildings, you can make bridges, you can actually make anything you want. And plastic blocks, you need to just attach together and then, form anything you like. And if you talk about Legos, the favorite thing about Legos to me was not to build something, but to destroy something which my little brother made. So I would just go there and spoil whatever he has made, and that would be my ultimate satisfaction. I still do that. So yeah, but yeah, coming back to the topic, Legos, right? How do Legos relate with APIs? When I say Legos with APIs, right? I see a lot of people relating in the chat of doing that, right? That is so much fun, right? Obviously. So when I talk about APIs, they are nothing but they are software version of that Lego. Okay. So what you do is you make individual microservices, you make individual services, you attach them together, and you make a complete software. Okay. The only limit here is your imagination and how you're going to use that API. The possibilities are endless. Okay. You can actually combine them. You can actually do a lot of stuff. Let me, give you a very, very simple example. How many of you use Google? Give me a thumbs up. Yeah. How many of you use Gmail? Give me a blue heart. How many of you use Google Maps? Give me some other emoji. I don't know which emojis you can react with. Oh, you can react with multiple emojis, it seems. Okay. So do you sign up for different accounts on this services? Do you sign up for differently on Google Maps, differently on Gmail, or differently on different apps? Do you do that? No, right? Pranav says no. Yes, we don't do that, right? Then what do? We use one account, right? That's the Google account, right? We sign up for the Google account and then we use that everywhere. Is it the same thing, right? Yes. Yes, right. So what Google actually does is it has only one account, but that authentication is used by YouTube, every Google account, not just Google account. What about third-party apps, which allows you to sign with Google? They also use the same service, right? They also use the same authentication service. Yes. So meaning that you don't need to create even passwords in this different applications. You just sign it with Google and that will solve the problem. Easier for developers, easier for users, right? And everything in one place. That's the power of APIs, right? So you're not just making you're making a very simple service, attaching it to a system which is pre-made, which has different services together, and then it brings together and gives you an amazing software which you can see at scale, massive scale. Okay. And that is how you will see big softwares being made across the globe. Not just it's not just about a startup, it's not just about a big corporation, it's not just about government. Everyone uses API, and they use it because it is the best approach, right? You don't have to kind of have the whole thing ready. You can actually make modules by modules, modules by modules, and then deploy them together, fit it, and process it. And that's how powerful it is. So again comes the question, what is an API, right? So APIs are nothing but you can say software interfaces which can interact with one entity to other entity together and can leverage the power of collaboration over the internet. A very, very simple example I would like to give you before we move forward and discuss how this complete process happens, right? I cannot just say in the air, hey, I want data, right? And then the data comes. No, it's not the school of wizards. Okay. So we follow protocols. We have kind of rules in place, and that's what we are going to discuss when we talk about the hands-on demonstration. Okay. So what when we talk about this API, right? Let me give you a very simple example. Okay, I have a debit card. I have a debit card of State Bank of India. Now I want to remove some cash. I want to go out there. I want to remove some cash, but there is no SBI ATM nearby. The ATM which I see is of Kotak Mahindra, okay, a different bank altogether. But I have a Visa card, okay. What I can do is I can go to Kotak Mahindra ATM and I can still remove the cash. Can I? Yes, I can, right? But how will Kotak know my bank balance? How would it allow me to kind of authenticate myself saying that this is the same user, right? So what Kotak is going to do is it's going to underlie, on the whole thing is going to process. It is going to call the SBI servers, retrieve the data, right? Help me with the balance, and then allow me to, remove cash or not remove cash based on the activity, based on my account balance, and so on and so forth. So there are two major concepts in this: requesting data, receiving data. Okay. requesting. Okay, I want the bank balance of Ali Mustafa. Okay, now we need to find, we need to send a unique ID to the server, else it will. There are multiple Ali Mustafas in the world, right? And it will definitely, I don't want, bank don't want to mess up with that. So they will find a unique identifier, which is the card number, and pass it along so that they can get my balance. Okay, requesting. Then they will receive the data, the body, which will possibly have my bank balance and authenticate my PIN, saying that, hey, this is a legit user, let him in, right? Pro code passing, etc., etc. Let's see how this actually works. So, how do you make a request? You have three major elements in making the request. Element number one, defining the method. Okay, do you want to get some request? Do you want to get some information, or do you want to add the information to the server? Do you want to alter the information from the server? What do you want to do? Okay, so this is what the method is defined. By default, you might be using a get method onto a browser. Browser is nothing but a client, I would say, a client for an API. Okay, I'll talk about it later on, but yeah, by default you use a get method whenever you're working with a browser. Okay, it's very, very simple. You send a get request, you get the website, and it is displayed onto your browser. Then comes address URL, which is nothing but the host name. Okay, and then comes the path. We'll talk about it. So what is a HTTP method? There are multiple types of methods. There's a get, there's a post, there's a put, and there's a delete method. Each method has a different, we have a set of things which it does. For example, get method, it helps us retrieve information. Post methods helps us add information. Put, update information, and delete information. But there are a lot more methods than these methods. For example, if I go to a browser and I say, postman.com, oops, I have actually opened something. Oh, yeah, this is postman.com. So I go to a browser and I get this website. Okay. Now, this is ideally sending a get request to the server and receiving, a response. If I go and I type, google.com and I hit enter, I'm sending a get request and getting a response in return. A very simple get request. Okay. So that is how I usually use a get method. Okay. By default, your browser does not allow you to kind of, send a post method, but you can do it programmatically. So you need to kind of, write backend code which can allow you to do this and, send a method, onto the server and then process it and so on. And that's where Postman comes into play. So, I'll talk about Postman a lot later on, but yeah, this is where we actually bring in Postman. Okay. Then comes part number two, which is defining the host address. Okay. So host is nothing but the home URL, the endpoint. Okay. So for example, google.com is the home page. Okay. But google.com/search is the search page. To give you a very simple example of LinkedIn, linkedin.com/feed is the feed page where you will see different, success stories, right? Top to bottom success stories, everything success stories. Again, people don't fail actually in real life. They only post success stories. So LinkedIn, all you will see, all the success stories there. Then connection tabs. Okay, you will find a lot of connections, like random people send you connections, right? And you will see a lot of people sending you a lot of requests, friend requests, etc., etc. Then you will see notifications, right? A lot of people sending notifications. So what you see, LinkedIn.com is the host address. Okay, and then forward slash whatever is there is called as the resource path. Okay, I usually feel, LinkedIn should change that slash feed to slash motivation. Okay, that is something which LinkedIn should definitely do. So remember, unless and until you get a resource path, right, you will be on the home page. You're not gonna do, literally anything unless and until you have that resource path. It is very, very important to note it down, because when we are working with APIs, we really need to understand how it is working and how we are actually, kind of making a request and sending it there. Then comes the final touch. Okay, the final touch is where you specify params. Okay, so you are like, hey, I want data of Ali Mustafa, I want data of ID number one, or I want, I want to, let's say, add data to the server. So where am I going to kind of, add the data to? I'm going to need a body, and so on and so forth. So remember, in the put and the post request, we usually use a body. Okay, and we put in the body so that we can send some data to the server, and then, process it, and the server will kind of, update that or do something with that. Okay, but body is where majority of our data is situated. Okay, there are headers as well, but I'm going to discuss about that later on. And show you a very good example of why headers are so much required. Part two, receiving request, right? So this is where actually we are going to get something from the server bank. The very first thing we get is the status code. Can someone tell me what is 404? What does 404 means? Yeah, in very simple terms. You can use the chat though. Error, not found, right? So I can, what does 200 means? 200? Anyone remember 200? Okay, right? So I can say that the response I'm getting from the audience is 200 okay, because you folks are really active, right? And I usually get a 404, in engagement. I usually give it a 404 saying that hey, engagement not found, but your engagement is found, and I would say I'll give you 200 status code. Okay, the status code actually tells the programmer that if the status, if the request is sent is executed, or you got a 404, or whatever happened, it will give you a status code which you can which is very helpful in debugging. Okay, and so on and so forth. Then comes headers. We'll talk about it in the class, and then comes body. I usually say body is the gold mine. Okay, not because it has gold, but it has data, and data is no less than gold. Okay, let's be clear. So body is where the main ingredient what we require is present, right? And when we are using RESTful APIs, we have body in JSON. Okay, JSON nothing but JavaScript object notation, a very simple key value pair. Okay, and then I can retrieve that. I can kind of get the data which I need, display it on my website, or process it via an ATM console, or maybe use that in an airport to display some crazy ads. Okay, now, you might be wondering where does Postman come here? Okay, where is Postman? Right, I understand all about APIs, but where is Postman? Okay, now if you're working with APIs, you're by default working with Postman. Okay, the reason for that, I'm not saying that because I work for Postman. Okay, I've been using Postman for last 3 years. Okay, because I was a backend developer and I used to work with kind of backend and front end. And whenever I used to work with APIs, Postman was the go-to tool because of its easy to use interface, okay, easy to test interface, and so on and so forth. So what is Postman? Postman is a very simple collaborative tool which you can use to work with APIs, not just alone, but with your team together. Okay, it will allow you to work together in a very, very effective manner. Okay, and just to give you an example, if you're sending an API request, this is how it will look in the call command. It will be, very messy. You don't know what the response is. You don't know what you're sending. You don't know what you're receiving. Okay, it becomes not so easy task to kind of decode this while developing an application. Postman makes that simple. I usually say Postman is the browser for APIs. Okay, very, very simple term. It will help you to make APIs. It will help you to kind of browse APIs, test them, and kind of work with them very effectively. Okay, enough of talking. Let's get hands on. Okay, let's go to this URL and let's get started. I'm gonna post this URL right into the chat so that everyone is following with me. Okay, there you go. You will see this URL right in the chat. Now, what you see once you open this is a home page. Okay, and this home page is nothing but a public workspace. Okay, this is not the homepage of Postman. Obviously, this is a public workspace. Okay, what is a public workspace? A public workspace is nothing but just like a GitHub repository. It has multiple kind of requests which you can actually use, reuse. You can collaborate, and you can do literally a lot of stuff there. Let us see how can we collaborate together, right? So what I want you to do is once you open this, right, on the left hand side, you will see that there are multiple folders there, right? What I want you to do is I want you to click on basics of API. Okay, click on basics of API and it will open a window like this. Okay, on the right hand side, you can see that there is a documentation and then there is a comment option. Click on comments and it will open comments like this. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to go there and say hi from your city name or from your college name. Now you can see here hi from PMSCE. You can maybe say hello from triple ITA or something similar. Or I would say hello from Postman, right? Let us add some comments here. So yeah, see, I already see comments here. Aishwarya, hello from LKO. Hello from Triple ITA. Oh, I see a lot of comments here. Samarth, and then Pulkit, and then Jeet. So I can see everything in real time. I can collaborate. I can actually comment. I can create a fork copy. I can do literally a lot of stuff there. It comes with inbuilt version control. And this is really, really awesome. Okay. Because it gives you that collaborative feel where you all are together. So I see people from SRM, I see Triple IT again. So you can see you can actually interact with a lot of people out there directly using the comment section, and so on and so forth. So here I can see, comments flooding in. Okay. So yeah, that's how you can collaborate. You can also assign people. Okay. So let me go here and let me be like, hey, let me go here, add a comment and say that I would assign a comment to Aishwarya, and I'll be like, hey, oh, I don't see her. Let me assign it to, oops. Okay, let me do it with my teammate Smith. Okay. So I see Smith here, and I'll be like, hey, uh, please have a look here. Okay. And as soon as I comment, it will send him a direct comment, right? And he will be notified of the comment. You can actually tag your teammates and do literally a lot of stuff there. Okay. Now, I don't want you to play comment, right? Because that is not what we are here for, right? It was really cool when we were small, but now we are going to work hands on, right? So, what I want you to do is I want you to click on this fork button, okay? If you're not able to see this fork button, go to basics of API, click on this three dot, and then click create a fork copy, okay? You will see a window like this. For people who are not able to see this, I'm sending a direct URL into the chat. Please have a look there, okay? Once you click on fork, it will ask you for a fork label. Okay. Add the label. I usually, add it to distinguish between the parent and the child. So I'll add it like, let's say, March 6, and then I will follow it by my username that is Ali. And then I'll put this into my workspace, which is your workspace. Okay. And then click on fork. Okay. So add a label, select the workspace and click on fork. It will redirect you and create a fork copy into your own workspace. Okay. Once you're done, give me a thumbs up. I have sent you the URL in the chat right now, so please have a look there. Okay. So having around 290 people in the call, I at least want 100 of you to follow with me. Okay. At least 100, like 50%. And that's not a bad number. Okay. So go here, create a fork copy, and it will redirect you automatically. So you don't need to worry about that, right? So just create a fork copy and let me see the number of folks. Okay. Let me see the number of folks. Let me see how many people have actually created a fork copy. Earlier it was 400, 457 something. Let me see right now what it is. So let me go to basics of API. I still see it's 513 only. I need at least it to be hitting 550. We have so many people in the call, 289 people in the call, and still we don't have good number of folks there. Why is it? Others not following hands on? Is it? Now, yes. I hope you are forking basics of API only, right? So I'm going to give you some more time, okay? 1 more minute. I'm going to send this URL again in the chat. Wait for you folks to fork this. Yeah. Sure thing. I have sent a URL in the chat that will open a window like this directly. Okay. Once you see a window like this, you can click on fork label and add any label, anything which can distinguish it, from the parent. I usually use the date, which enables me to kind of, segregate my different workshops because if you go to my public, you see here basics of API March 1, March 4, 27. So it is better to help me to segregate, right? So that's why I use March 6 and I'll be like triple IT, and then you can actually use my workspace, which is your workspace, and click on fork collection. Okay. Once you click on fork collection, it will automatically reload. You don't need to worry about it. It will automatically reload and redirect you to your own personal workspace. Okay. Once done, give me, say done in the chat maybe. Or if you're doing it, I'll wait for you. Okay, I'm not in a hurry. So yeah, I see Akshay done. A lot of people have done this. Yeah, because it was around 457 when we started. I see 60 people doing it. But what about others? So I see 577. I want to hit that 600 today. Okay. So because there are like 250 plus people in the call, we can do that very easily. Yeah, it will ask for login. Obviously, you need an account. Obviously, so yeah, you need an account. So sign up. It's easy. You can sign it with Google as well. Uh, so yeah, come on, come on, come on. That will take some time. That will take a minute or two. I'm waiting for you. Don't worry. I don't have a party to go to. So yeah, I'm. This is my party. So yeah. Well, then, if you have any questions till now, you can, uh, tell me in the chat right now, and I can solve it out till others are kind of, coming onto this stage. Okay. So I can add that meme here, right? This is Postman. This is all the people, and we are doing, we are learning about APIs. So that is a good one. If anyone can rhyme it better, please suggest in the chat. Otherwise, that is also a good option. Okay, people, we are waiting for you. Okay, like around 100 people are waiting for you. Okay, so yeah, ये हम हैं नहीं. Okay, ये postman है, right? No. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, let me see where we are currently. Okay, we seem to have crossed 600. Awesome, awesome, awesome. How to learn basics of this? I'm going to teach you basics. Don't worry. We are. I'm gonna go slow, right? So yesterday I received a feedback, which people said, you actually, when you start speaking, you speak too fast. Okay, and one person actually mentioned in the form, you speak like a rap card. So I was like, oh no, I need to slow down a bit. Okay, so yeah, if you feel like I'm speeding, stop me in the comments. Okay, cool. So here you can see that this is where you will be able to see the public workspace and everything here. Now Postman is a really good tool. If you are able to use that effectively, it is a really really awesome tool. Okay, let's try to understand its features, and let's try to kind of get started with it, and let's try to kind of understand different features. Actually, I had not connected yet. Bhavya, we can wait for you. That is fine. Like we are not doing okay. You are not able to sign in with Google, is it? No. Yes. Okay. I'll wait for you for a minute more because I can. This is what you will technically see whenever you're working with Postman as a home screen when you come back here, right? Now, what you see on the left hand side is a collection. A collection is nothing but a folder with a bunch of API requests. Okay. Now let's try to understand it in a very simple term. So what I want you to do is open basics of API, okay, the one which you forked right now, and click on get joke. Open basics of API and click on get joke. Okay. Wait here and let's see what this is all about. Okay. So I usually explain Postman as three part. Okay. Part one, which is on the left hand side. Let me zoom this in. This is part one. Okay. What is part one? This is part one. What does part one do? Part one has collections, which are nothing but folders. There you can see folders, and these folders have multiple requests. Okay, you cannot have a request without a folder. So if you want to save a request, you need a folder for that. You need a collection for that, and that's why we call it as a collection. You can share the collection with others. You can write a documentation for the collection, and you can actually create a fork request. You can create a pull request. You can actually do a lot of things with the collection. You can click on this new button and you can add a new collection as well. Then comes APIs. These are all advanced concepts which we don't want to study right now. But there is history, which I want you to know about. History is not that history subject which we hate. It is all the requests which you have sent till now, in the Postman, and it is visible. So don't send a request which you don't want others to see, because history is visible to your teammates if you have enabled them to see. Here you can see there are multiple history which people can see, and it is segregated by the date. There's no incognito mode here, so make sure you're adding or you're working with the right APIs. Okay, so yeah. Now, once you click on a request, right, it will open another window which I call usually as part two, which I refer to as this part of Postman. Okay, this part of Postman. Okay, this is called as making the query, sending the query. Okay, which is where you are going to kind of create a query with a proper URL. So this is where you will select a method. This is where you will add the URL. This is where you will send it. Okay, and there are params which you will use. There are headers. There is body. There's different types of things. We'll try to understand all of that later on. But remember, this is the part where you are actually sending a request. Okay, and then there is a response. Response is where you will get the response in return. It is empty right now, but you will be able to see it later on. So these are the three major parts. Now what I want you to do is go here and remove this, add the URL there, and type www.google.com and hit on send. And tell me what do you see in response. Okay, once you hit on send, tell me what do you see in response. Hit on send and tell me what do you see in response. Yes, Mithul, it's the HTML page, right? So if you see the response, you will see that we see a lot of things. We see in data, we will see that there is an HTML response. Click on raw, it will remove the highlighting from there. If you click on pretty, it will highlight the syntax. Okay, raw is raw. Click on preview, it will show you the preview of this HTML page, which is the Google homepage. What else do we see apart from that? We see status code. We see time, which it took like 1200 milliseconds around. And then we see the size which we received in the response. Click over on status code. What do you see? It tells you what does it mean. What does the status code means, right? Yes. Everyone should be able to see a similar response. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now that you see this response, what I want you to do is I want you to add something in Google search here in search bar. Okay. So what we are going to do is we are going to go to params and we are going to add a key, and we are going to say that key as Q. Observe the URL as you are adding the query params. Okay, so add Q here and observe the URL. Okay, add the value as your college name or Postman and hit enter. Hit send and tell me what do you see in response. Hit send and tell me what do you see in response. Mm-hmm. You should see something interesting. Yeah, so URL has the param. I'm talking about the response. URL, obviously, hit a send and tell me what you see in response in the preview. Yes. So what you see is a show that value in the search bar, right? So what you see is if you click on send, you'll see that it actually populated Postman inside the text box. But why don't we see the result page? If I go to google.com here, okay, and I kind of go and add Postman and hit enter, I see the search page. But why I don't see a search page here? Why I only see value propagated here? Yes, Shivang. The reason for that is we have not mentioned the resource path. So the resource path is going to be search. Now hit enter and tell me what do you see in response. Let us end and tell me what do you see in response. You should see the search result page where you will see all the results which it is returning. Okay. So what we did is we just used API. We just used Google search as an API and got a response. Okay. And you can see the response is 1000 again milliseconds, something like that. Now, if I search here on Google, I see a lot of things here in the URL, right? What are all these things, right? I don't know. So let me copy this. Let me come back to Postman and paste it here and check the query params. So when actually you are sending a request, you are actually sending so many different params with your request for searching about something. And there you can see the queue is equal to Postman, which I actually showed you. But there are other things which I don't know about. Obviously, you might be able to see something like that. Preview failed to load. It might be you might have received too much of data, which it will not be able to like kind of preview. But try it again, maybe refresh it, and it should work. Okay, because I don't think so. There's anything other apart from that you can do. So yeah, so this is how you can actually know about different params which Google is sending, or for that reason while you are using a web request. Okay, looks good. Cool. Now I don't want it to be a Google workshop, so I'm not going to, do anything else apart from that. And let's continue with our workshop. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to do basic operations about APIs. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to the documentation. It is where everything is situated. So go to basics of API, click on these three dots and click on view documentation. Okay. Basics of API, click on these three dots and click on view documentation. It will open a new tab with the documentation. And you can see a URL here, endpoint URL. Copy this URL. Copy this URL, come back to GetJoke and paste it here. Hit a send, tell me what do you see in the response. So what I did is I copied the URL from the documentation. Documentation said that the endpoint URL is like this. So I came back here and I added that and I should see a response saying that, hey there, this is a simple demo for making API. Else you'll see a lot of different things. Yeah, I'll repeat it. So what you can do is you click on the collection. This is the collection. Click on these three dots and click on view documentation. If you are seeing it like that, it is like the second last option. No, it is not the second, which is the get joke. Paste it there. Hit a send request and tell me what you see in the response. Okay. Now that we know that, what is the path of getting the joke? What is the path for getting the joke? Mm-hmm. Can someone tell me what is the path for getting a joke from the documentation? Slash joke pranav. Perfect. So the path is forward slash joke and hit enter. And you will see a random joke in the response. Can you please all try and tell me if you are able to see this? You should see multiple jokes. For example, the first is of programming. If it works, don't touch it. And that's a really good dev joke, right or wrong? Yes, everyone is able to see different jokes. No, yes. Hardware, a part of how did the CEO build his company headquarters? By connector. What is the hardware? Yes, yes, yes. Cool. So you can see different jokes. Let's say I want to retrieve a specific joke. So what I will have to add? I will have to add a query params, right? Yes or no? Yes, right. So here I am using a path param, not a query param. Okay. So how to add that forward slash colon and then ID. And if you add that here, you can see there is a path variable. Okay, path variable is added. Add the value as 1 and then hit a send and tell me what you say in return. You will only see joke number 1. Yes, yes, yes. So here I can use path variables as well instead of query params. Okay, I can use a path variable as well, and I can see the outcome like this, which is also equivalent, and I'll be able to see joke number 1 as well as you are able to see that. You can change the value to 0, and you can see the joke number 0 as well. So hit a send again, and you should be able to see the same output. So it's not working well for 0. Oh, I guess I might have mistaken with the logic. Let me see. It's not working with 0, I guess. The reason for that is I guess I have not added it for 0. It's only for 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 means random. Uh, 0 might give you random because it is with that logic. I guess I have not pushed the code to Heroku yet, and that's why it is giving me that. Okay. Yeah, for value 10, joke not found because there is only 0, 1, 2, and 3. Only 4 jokes. 0, 1, 2, and 3. You will not find joke for joke number 10. Okay. So yeah, it's only tells you 3, not even 4. So you won't see joke number 4. So you can see joke number 3. Joke number 3 is there, but there is no joke number 4. Okay, cool. Now let's add a joke to the server. Okay. So we can see that we can get a joke, but let's add a joke. So what I want you to do is I want you to click on these 3 dots. Click on these 3 dots and click on the third option, add request. Click on the third option, add request. Click on 3 dots and then click on add request. Once you click there, it will open and it will name it as a re request. Now I don't want it to be nameless, right? Now when you were born, people, didn't, the first thing your parents did was give your name. So give the request a name, okay? It is very odd to not give a name because it will mess later on. So let us name it as add joke, okay? Add joke. Now, which method should I use for adding the joke? Yeah, post method, perfect method. So let us go there and click on post. Okay, what is the URL I'm going to add here? That is the base URL which I was using earlier, and then forward slash joke. Right? Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, Imanshu. So what you need to do is you need to go here in the basics of API, click on the 3 dots, and click on add request. Third option. Okay. Once you click on add request, you need to rename the request. So once you click on add request, it will show you the name like this. Change the name and then put it there, and it will be visible. Like you can see, this is not what I want, so I will delete this. So add request, okay? Because you are in the public workspace, you are not in the fork copy. If you fork it, you should be able to see it. If you are in the public workspace, then you will not be able to see that add request option because that is a public workspace and you cannot add a request there because you don't have permissions. Have you forked the repository? If yes, there should not be an error. Link, okay, let me go back there. Yeah, this is basics of API. This is the fork URL. This is where you'll be able to fork. Okay, So once you do that, click on send and tell me if you're able to. So click on save first. Okay, saving is very important. Every single time you should save this, and then click on send and tell me what do you see. You should see an error. What is the status code of this error? Don't use the home URL. Use the / joke. Else you will say method not allowed. It will give you 400, saying that what? It is a bad request. Okay, meaning that this request cannot be fulfilled because of a bad syntax. What does our response tells us? What does our body tells us? Body says that hey, what we see here is we don't have a post body, meaning that we need to add a body there. For people who are getting method not allowed, make sure you are adding / joke and selecting a post method. Okay. Now click on body because we need to add a body to our request, and click on raw, and in the text click on JSON. Click on body, click on raw, click on JSON. The reason why we are doing this is because we need to add a body to our request. Else it is not going to work, right? It is a post request. We need to send some data to the server. Okay. Yeah, don't try to add it. Follow me. Don't get ahead. You will get errors because I know I have made the server, right? So yeah, yep. Cool. Everyone till this point of time is with me. Now, where am I supposed to get this body from? Where will I get this body from? Can someone tell me? What is the structure of this body? Documentation. Perfect, Prano. So here I need to go to documentation and get the body. Okay. So let me go back to the documentation. What is the way to go back to the documentation? Click on these three dots and click on view documentation. And it will take you to the documentation. In the documentation, it says that this is the body. Copy this or copy this like this. Go back here and paste it. Oh, I forgot to copy the curly braces starting. Now it should look good. Hit on send and tell me what do you see in response. It will say that joke with ID 1 already exists. Yes? No, 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 Mitul. You see, always remember you cannot use the get body because that is for get only. For post, the developer might have made something different. Okay, here it is similar, but in the real life it will be different. Always documentation is the first step. Okay, yeah. So what I want you to do is I want you to create a random ID, okay? Because we are 200 people here. So obviously anyone who adds 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 will get this fulfilled. So I want you to add a random ID. For example, I'm adding 99 and hitting a send so that no one can take my ID. And I can see that my joke is added already. Remember to change your name, okay? Don't copy my name. You can copy my joke, but don't copy my name, okay? Will you do that? Yeah, Imanshu, you need to add the body, right? Go to body, click on raw, click on JSON, and then you will be able to add a body. Copy paste the body from documentation. Once you have added this, and it should return you status 201 created. If you get this as created, send me your ID in the chat. I see ID number 46. Let me go to the get request and see the joke number. What was the joke number? Joke number was 46, was it? 46, okay. You didn't add it, man. Sorry, woman. Dia. Adil 243, 243, 243. I see Adil Ali. Ali. Okay, that is same name. Okay. Aman 175. Let me see 175. 175. Okay. Aman bugs are features. Then there's 70. Let me see 70. 70. Not found. You may try adding it again maybe. 69. I'm not checking that. Okay. Then there's 93. Okay. And 93. I'm able to see joke from Ashok. Okay. Then there's Archies, you should use good numbers like 786, 666, 999, 000, right? No, 000 is added. It will be directly zero. I'll use another number which is 175. I guess we have checked it. We'll check 59. Okay, 59 is okay. 59. Okay, 59. 59. Abhay Singh. Yes, we see the joke. Anything. Oh, I see like 100 messages, man. I'm gonna. Okay. There's 77 from Tarun. Okay, 77 from. It says joke not found. Let me try again. Yeah, I see it's Sam. Bugs are features. Amazing. Okay. 14 is a good number. 14 is a good number. 14 is a good number. Uh, Ravan Preet Kaur. Okay, that is good. There's 7. 7 is my favorite number, obviously. So let me go to the 7 one and hit enter. And I don't see a name, man. Why is it? You just copy pasted my code, is it? Huh? Okay. Cool. So what we were able to do, so you see, you added data at your end, I'm able to see it at my end, right? One API, we were able to send a post request, we were able to add our joke onto the server. Okay. A very good way of data collection, right? So yeah, I have got like so many, like around 100 jokes at least, I would say. Okay. I'll check 2449 as well, and then before moving forward. 2449. Yeah, Malik Prabhajan. Bugs are features. It looks good. Now, what I've seen that a lot of people have added what to do after I copy paste the code. Yeah, after you have copy pasted the code from the documentation, I will repeat the post request again. Okay, for people who are not able to get it. So first thing you need to add a request. Once you add the request here, right? You need to go to body, click on raw, and click on JSON. Once you do that, click on save first before moving forward. Then go to documentation, copy this code, copy this code, go back. Oops, sorry. You can see this tabs, right? Go back here and paste it here. But remember to change the ID. Change the ID to whatever you want. I would say 4 times 9 and I would hit and enter and it will add a joke there. You can say 4 times 9, Ali Mustafa, bugs are features and looks good. Yes? You can change anything. Obviously, you can change anything. Yeah, like you have to change that. You're not going to add my name, right? Like I see a lot of people added my name into their jokes and also copied my joke. That's plagiarism. Even I have copied this, so that is a different story altogether. But hey, Anurag, I have added that. That is my joke. Okay, 999 is my joke. Oh no, 4 times 9 is my joke. Okay, you can see my name there. Okay, cool. So what we did here is we created this joke. Okay, now you can see that the time will be around 293 milliseconds. That is because you see that in the headers we have something which is called as connection and which is keep alive. Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go to get joke request. Go to get joke. Go to get joke. Okay. Click on get joke. Everyone with me? Click on get joke. Go to headers and deselect this header of connection. If it is visible, just unselect this. Click on send and click send from random joke. Okay, and you can see the connection time is taking 303 milliseconds. Send it again. It will take 333. Send it again. Keep sending it, and you will see that the connection time in milliseconds, is going to be more and more. Okay, the reason for that is very simple because you're telling the server that hey man, I don't want to reconnect to the server, so it will consider every request which is sending. It will not keep this as a live connection. Okay, yeah, I will repeat it. Just give me a second. Go to get request. Go to get request here. Get joke. Come here. Okay, and in the get joke, you will see params by default. Click on headers. And in headers, deselect this connection. Don't select this. Okay. and then hit a send request and tell me what do you see in response. You'll see the same thing, but the time is going to be more. Okay, it is going to be more because of the reason that we have not kept the connection as live. Okay, and that is the reason. Now, if you actually change that, you will actually be able to change a lot of stuff there. You can look at this, I and hover it there, and you will be able to see what each thing means. Okay, and that will tell you more about all these headers which we are using. Okay. Yes, so while it is live, it gives you very less time. The reason for that is it has kept the connection from the server to the client live. It has actually dedicated you a thread, and that's where you are able to interact. But if you say that don't keep it live, then it will disconnect after the request is fulfilled, and then once you're sending it again, it will consider that as a very new request and not allow you to kind of connect with that and do that. Shivang, can you check 421, please? Okay, if someone says me, please, I cannot deny that. Let me check 421. Ah, joke not found, mate. I see the joke. My life's a joke. That is not a programming joke, okay? That is a real life joke, okay? We need a programming joke. Okay, cool. Let's move forward. Okay. So what we were able to do, we were able to add the joke, we were able to get the joke. Now let's update the joke because everyone has used my name. Okay, I want you to use your name. I want you to update your name. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go back here, click on this three dots, and click on what? Add request. Click on add request, and here you're going to name the request as update joke. Oops. Which method are we going to use to update the joke from the theory which we learned earlier? Yes, Mithul, we will put now. Yes. So let's go in the drop down and let's select the put request. The URL is going to be, oops, the URL is going to be same. If you don't know, go to basics of API, copy the URL, come back here in the put request, paste it, make sure you add /joke. Do I need to add body here as well? Yes, folks. Do I need to add body here as well? Should I? Mm-hmm. Yes, right, because it is a put request. So I need to add the body. So let's go there, click on body. Then where to click? Should I click on binary? What should I click? Raw. Perfect. Raw. Then should it be text or JavaScript or JSON or HTML? JSON. Because we're using REST API. Okay, so JSON. Now we need to where do I get this body from? I don't know where this body is. Where should I get this body from? I don't know how to send the data. Documentation. How do I go to documentation? Not get joke, we need. We need to go to documentation, okay? Because documentation might have something different. So Mithul says three dots and then click on view documentation. Now see that once you click that, the documentation is available in the tab here. You don't need to go again and again and do that, okay? You can click on the tab here and you can go to the documentation right away. And you can see that the body for post input is like this. So let's copy for this, copy, and it is copied right now. Okay, let us go back here and let us paste it. Now remember to change the ID to your ID. So I'll change it to my ID 99 and I'll be like updated Ali Mustafa, and then I will write my joke. Please don't copy my joke, okay? So I'll write my joke as I am a full stack developer as I pull code from internet, right? I can say I am a full stack developer. Okay. Now hit a send. And what do you see as status code? You won't see anything in response, but what do you see as a status code? Yes, folks. No, it should not be 200. You're not adding. It should be 204, meaning that server didn't respond any with any content. Okay, make sure the id you're not messing with id. Okay, make sure the id is, you are changing the id to your id which you added earlier, and then changing the author, and then changing the joke, and then hitting a send request. Make sure it is a put request, okay, not a post request. If the id is not there, it will say that no id there. Okay, so yeah. Now let me see if the joke was updated. How am I supposed to see if my joke was updated or not? How am I supposed to see that? Get request, right? So let me go and see the get request. So let me go to get. And what was the ID of my joke? It was 99. Hit enter. And I can see here. Oh, someone updated my request. Is it? Okay. You are a full stop developer. That is a weird joke. Okay. Someone is very fast, huh? It seems. Okay. So I see that, people, you can go and you can update your joke and you will get a 204 and check it. I can see 444, which is Ansh. Okay, let me see. 444. I see joke not found. Ready? Oh, I see right now. BTech itself is a joke. I hope your teacher is not in the call. Okay. Source is Berosgari. Okay, that is truth. But yeah. Um, then there's 265. Okay, let me check 265. 265. I don't find your joke, buddy. Yeah, I see it right now. Arr, okay. That is a political joke. I don't want political joke here. So I'm not going to see more jokes, okay? uh, let me change that to my joke number one. What is the hardware? This is a good joke, okay. Sir, please repeat the steps. Okay, Himanshu. So what we need to do is we need to add a request, okay? So go to three dots. Not Go to three dots. Click on add request, third option. Name the request. Say update joke. Because I already have with the same name, I will add it as one. Okay. Select the method as put, not add. Sorry, put. URL will be the same. So where should I get the URL from? This is the URL. Copy, paste it here. Body raw JSON. Save. Go back to basics. Copy the body. Come back. Paste. Change the ID with the ID you added the joke with. I added with 99, and then I'll be like updated Ali Mustafa, and then I'll keep the joke as same. You can change it, hit a send request. It will send it to the server, give you 204, meaning that it was successful, but it didn't return anything. Go back to get and see if it was successful. Oops, it should be one. Oh, it should be one. Oops, hi peeps, okay. Which ID did I update the joke for? It was 99. Okay, let me go there. Till my quick audience goes and alters my joke. Uh, Updated hero. Okay, see, people are updating it. Okay, people are fast. Okay, cool. I hope you were able to do that. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. Why, Manshu? I showed you again, man. You should be able to do that. Why are you not able to do that? Mm-hmm. Harshil, make sure you are adding the body properly. The body here in the post request is proper with ID and other details, and it is not text, it is JSON. Two things to remember. How do you create the ID? You don't create the ID, you pass the ID. So if that ID is not in the database, meaning that maybe you deleted it, or use this permanent IDs. 0, 1, 2, 3 are the permanent IDs which you can use. Raw JSON, edit the ID with your ID and edit the joke and then hit on send. Yes, Himanshu, the world is waiting for you. Please send a request. Please send your joke and tell us if you were able to do it successfully. Try 847. Now, if someone says try, I find it fishy. So I'll try it in my browser and then see if it is genuinely okay to try it on the live stream. What is the joke ID? Joke ID is what? Joke ID is 847. 847. Ah, this is a good joke. Okay, let me put it here. Internet server error. Oh, it is not a put request. Sorry. Put request requires ID. Okay, let me see the get request. There are only 10 kinds of people in this world, two who know binary and those who don't. Okay, cool. It's not 10, it's 1 0. I fell for it. Himanshu, were you able to do it, man? We are waiting for you because we need to move forward, yes? I don't know what you're doing wrong, man, because you need to add a put request, you need to add the URL properly, add the body properly, and hit on send because I see like bundles of people doing it in the chat. Maybe you can, maybe, after the session, reach out to me and I will be able to help you out there. But I cannot, see what is wrong here. So, yeah. No, man, Abe, he will be able to do it. Okay, I'm very confident he will be able to kind of, do it later on. But yeah, you might have missed some mistakes there. That's why you're not able to do that. But you should be able to do it. Now let's delete the joke because we have done a lot of things there, right? So let's delete it. So how are we going to do that? Can you folks delete the joke for me? Yes, folks. Can you do that for me? Can you delete the joke? Which method are you going to use? And how do you know how to delete the joke? You need to use the delete method and you need to don't delete others ID. Come on, folks, be quick. I see 4 people have deleted it with a thumbs up. 35 deleted. Yeah, this is a very good approach. You should mention your ID. 59 deleted. Good, good, good. 1 2 3 4 deleted. Okay. Let me delete joke number 0 so that everyone, for people who are not able to do that are able to do that. Click on 3 dots. Click on. No, we don't need to add a monitor. Click on 3 dots. Click on add request. Name it delete joke. Method is going to be delete. URL is going to be same. And make sure the ID is mentioned at the end of the URL. If you don't send the ID, it will say that the ID is missing. You can see error ID is missing. So we need to send the ID. So let's send the ID as 1 and hit enter. And then it will say that joke with ID 1 is deleted. Now if you send a get request, it will say that it is deleted. Yes, it was fun. Yeah. Can someone tell me what is the drawback of this system? What is the major drawback of this system? What is the major drawback of this system? Hmm. No security, no integrity, right? Anyone can delete anything. No security, no integrity. Okay. Anyone can edit anything. I don't know who it is, right? No privacy, no integrity, no access control, nothing, nothing. It is, you know, like everything will be there's nothing out there, right, which you can actually do that. So we don't have APIs like this. Okay, anyone can access anything, and that's why APIs are not like this. Okay, this is just for the demonstration of code operation. But if you go in real life, then you can be like very simple. It is going to give you API key or authentication, and this is where you will see in the get request we have an option of authorization. And if you click on inherit, this arrow, there's no auth, there's API key, bearer token, basic auth, and so on. So what does it allow you to do is authenticate yourself so that people, can allow you to kind of, do different types of operations on the server and authenticate yourself. Now, for me, this whatever you have added to the server, it will be deleted after half an hour automatically. So it refreshes after 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, everything on the server will be deleted because it is a demo server, right? So everything deletes after 30 minutes, and it happens after, literally after every 30 minutes. So unless someone is very mad and want to spoil my workshop and is doing after every 30 minutes adding data, then do I have a mechanism to manually flush the server again and again and get the new URL every single time. Okay, but yeah, when we talk about real life scenarios, we will not have open APIs which allow you to alter the data, but you will have open APIs which allow you to fetch the data. You'll have a lot of GET requests, but not a lot of people will allow you to work with post and put and delete unless you own resource onto that server and so on and so forth. If you want to go in detail, then go back to this, right? And I would highly recommend you to at your home to complete the second part, which is building an API. Click on building an API and then fork this repository. I'm sending the URL. You can fork it, and then you can learn more about it, and it has different types of code which you can go ahead and you can try it out on your own. Okay, cool, cool, cool. So fork this and give me a thumbs up once you're done. I can see that there were 224 folks. If we still have 70 people doing it, it should reach 300 at least. Basic of API is 650. That is awesome. I feel a lot of people did it afterwards as well. I see 234. Once you fork it, please give me a thumbs up. I know, I hope you know how to fork it right now, right? I have told it like so many times. We still have 180 people. That is good. So here you can actually create your own API, okay? And this is a really, really good one, which you can go and accomplish, okay? Cool, cool, cool. So please fork that and keep it with you, and then you can do it later on. Refer to documentation. It is very, very important because it is what will enable you to do that very easily and effectively. Okay, cool. So recap. What did we learn? How many methods did we learn about? How many? How many and what? What types of method did we learn about? Get, Amrita, yes. Four. Get, pull. We didn't learn about pull. Okay. Get, put and delete. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, Tanushi, four. Jit Sarkar, delete, put. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. What is an address and what is a path? What is an address and what is a resource path? Uh-huh. Come on, come on. Recap about addresses and path. No problem, Vimal. You can do it later on. Address is the URL and path is the joke, right? Perfect. Yeah, good example, Shyam. Arey, Shyam is here. Amazing. When did you came from Fir Hera Feri? Ansh, path is a joke. Okay, yes, perfect. Yes. So forward slash anything is a joke, right? Then there is parameters. What are the two types of parameters which we had a look at? Two types of params. No, no, key was there. Which kind of key? No, no, no. I'm not talking about queue. Two types of params. Which two types of params? No, no, not query, not ID. Two types of params which we used while building. No, not collection. Parameters, query param and yes, query and Anushka has given it a right answer. Query and path. Yes, Jeet. Query and path. So query params and path params. Okay. So it is called as query variables and path variables same. But yeah, remember these two things. Then what is authorization? What does it allows us to do? Security. Enhance the security. Enable data integrity. Okay, restrict users. Don't allow them to, kind of do anything with the API. Identify who is sending a client, who is sending a request. Is it a human, whoever it is, by identifying them with unique IDs and so on and so forth. What about body data? Where do we get this body data from? Which request do we add body data to? Which request do we add body data to? Put and delete most of the times. Yes, perfect, perfect, perfect. So as the next step, if you like this training, if you like my teaching, right, and if you like Postman and APIs, because APIs, see, to be very frank with you, people who want to learn machine learning, they want to learn blockchain, they want to learn AR, VR, okay? But APIs are fundamental of all these technologies, okay? If you don't know how to work with APIs, then all this AR, VR, ML, blockchain is of no use because you don't know the fundamentals of software building, okay? And that's why it is very, very important to learn about APIs, okay? And that's why we are on a mission to promote API literacy, in students across the globe. Okay, and that is our vision. That is our mission. Okay, so if you want a credible certification, we have something which is called as a Postman Student Expert Certification, which will enable you to certify yourself as a Postman expert and get a certification for it. It is not a long training; it is a half-day training, which will enable you to use different features of Postman, and it will enable you to become a student leader in your campus. We also have a campus leader program which we have started. The very first cohort was announced on Monday, and we are kind of moving forward to announcing a lot more people as our student leader. So if you're from a campus, if you're from a different campus, then please go here. Yeah, definitely, I'll send that in the chat. You'll also receive that via an email after the program ends, right? So please apply to become a student expert, and I will definitely reach out to you, to people who fill this and earn this to become a student leader. Okay, student leader is the Postman Campus Ambassador program, which we usually, use to, and help you to become a student leader on the campus. So please go and apply there. Do mention about this workshop because we need to, gather the impact, right? So make sure you mention that you came from this workshop in the form while you're applying. Okay. So once you're applying, add your all the details, and how did you learn about Postman. You can mention about this session which was conducted by me here with in collaboration with triple IT, Allahabad with Pragma. Okay, so yeah, that would actually help us to identify the impact which we are creating from this program. Cool. We can apply it later on as well. It will be the application is open round the clock, so you don't need to kind of worry about applying it right now, but you can apply it later on as well. Apart from that, you can always try out things, and you can do one thing which is basically to earn a swag. So I'm kind of giving swags out to people who are working with a public workspace, right? So if you want to earn the swag, you need to make a public workspace, right? So you can see that this what I have created is a public workspace. So you can go to a workspace, you can click on a new workspace, okay, and then you can create a public workspace. Public workspace not only enables you, so here you can see team, make it a public workspace, okay, and you can actually add multiple requests, your favorite, kind of, it is all free, everything is free, okay. We don't charge for anything. Even if you want to host a workshop in your college, we are more than happy to do that in your college, okay. Everything is free. Even the Postman has a free plan which is more than enough for you. But if you are a student and you're doing something amazing which requires a paid plan, I'm more than happy to give you the education license as well, which is full-fledged access to Postman. Okay, so yeah, that is also possible. So if you want to earn the swag, go and make a public workspace. Okay, and once you make a public workspace, you can make it for anything which is which you're excited about. For example, here you can go to the explore postman.com/explore, and here you can see there are multiple public workspaces. Like for example, there is a public workspace for Mercedes Benz, API, Evangelist, Ping Identity, Dolby, Microsoft Graph. So you can pick up anything. Like there is one for COVID-19. You can pick up anything, and you can make a public workspace for that. And once you do that, then you will be able to kind of go out there and submit it. Once you create a public workspace, I'll send you a form via organizers where you can submit your public workspace and get a swag. Make sure your public workspace has at least 3 to 4 requests. so that I'm able to see that it is a credible workspace. And please go ahead and do that if you want to have a swag. Okay, that is one way of earning a swag. Another way of earning a swag is simple. Whatever you learned in this workshop, use LinkedIn or Twitter. If you use LinkedIn or Twitter, go and use hashtag student program and share your learning, whatever you learned in this workshop. If you find it helpful, please go and share your learnings there. It will be really helpful for us to kind of, understand what you have learned. At the same time, we will be offering the swag to the person who has summarized it very well. So I will reach out to you directly on LinkedIn. You can tag me as well, or you can use the hashtag Postman Student and summarize your learning, whatever you learned from this workshop. Okay. So yeah, I guess that is almost about everything which I wanted to cover. If you want to learn more about it, you can go to learning.postman.com. Explore Network I already shared with you, and the community, which is very powerful for Postman, which you will find more resources. I'm more than happy to take a question or two. And if there are no questions, then we are all good. I hope you enjoyed this session at the end of the day. Yes.
I guess they don't have any questions. So thanks a lot, sir. Uh, it was a great session, and there were a lot of freshers from our college and from other colleges as well who are probably starting their development journey, and most of them with such an when they see such thing as backhand and wrist, it's such so much overwhelming that they usually drop it. And but this session was a great session, and obviously Postman as a tool, such a powerful and great tool, it made very easy. It made it very easy, and yeah, it was a great session, and I'd like to thank Postman and you again for this amazing workshop. There's one question: is Postman open source?
So Postman has open source projects. Okay. So the documenter which you saw is an open source project, right? But I don't think so. The complete Postman is open source, but it has few projects inside of Postman which are open source, which you can contribute to. We are also participating in GSOC. So yeah, you can actually see the applications and submit applications there as well. So yeah, there are a lot of open source projects about Postman which you can have a look at. Yes, yes, this year. The application would be really available soon, and you'll be able to see Postman as an org in GSOC. Yeah. Also, if you're
If we
connecting me on LinkedIn, make sure you mention that you came from this workshop because I see a lot of overwhelming responses. And if you're sending me a request without a head, then I don't accept requests without bodies. Like working with APIs, I don't request any connections without body. So make sure you add a body while sending me a LinkedIn request. Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay. Looks like we are all good then.
okay,
150
then
people still here.
so I think we can end this session here. And everyone who was present here will share feedback form through email, and please respond to that so we know how this workshop went for you. And yeah, thanks again, sir, and thanks again to Postman as well for this workshop.
Thank you so much, folks. Bye bye. See you later on and connect with you on the social platforms. Have a very good day and enjoy your weekend, obviously. Yeah, status code 200. That is a good, I would say, a feedback. I would say 201 information created in your brains. Okay. Bye bye.